guys, so in this video we'll be talking about for loops. So this is going to be our first loop session. So for those of you who don't know what loops are, loops basically keep on performing a particular task unless a particular requirement is met. So let's better understand that. So there are two types of loops in Python mainly. There are for loops and while loops. So today we'll be looking into for loops, and then while loops we'll be looking up in the next video. So suppose I have I'm accepting an input called number. Okay, I'm accepting an input that's a number which is gonna be an integer, because I don't want float values right now. So I'm just gonna be like, please enter a number. Okay, so now for example he entered a number 50. How do we print out all the even numbers up till 50? Now for a person who doesn't know what a loop is, he would just manually print 2, then 4, then 6, but that is too much time consuming and that isn't a practical method. So this is where loops come into action. So instead of doing that, I can just make a for loop. So the particular for loop we are going to learn now is a range loop. So a range loop will always begin with for I in range. Now this is a range loop, but there are other loops. There are loops like for I, lm in, enumerate. So they're basically enumerating loops. We'll talk about them later. So now we'll talk about range loops. So what do we want? We want all the even numbers, right? So I'm just gonna put 2, comma, number, comma, 2. So what does this do? I'm just gonna print I. Okay, so let me explain what this does basically. This 2 means the loop begins with 2, right? It begins with 2. So in this, I will get the value of whatever is happening inside the loop. So in this case, for I in range, it should begin with 2. So I will occupy the value of 2. So when I say print I, 2 will get printed as the output, right? Okay. Now it will again go back for I in range, 2, comma, number, comma, 2. So it will do 2 plus 2. What does that mean? It will basically do I plus 2, since I put this 2 right here, and it will check if it's equal to the number. Is 4 equal to 50? No. So again I will occupy the value of 4. So when I say print I, now 4 will come as the output. Then it will again go back to for I in range. Now I is 4, right? Again 2 will get added to 4. The loop will check, is 6 equal to number? No, 6 is less than 50. So it will again print I, that's 6. So similarly it will go down till 48, right? So let us save this and run this and see if we get the desired output or if something went wrong. Enter a number, we will put 50 in, there you go. 2, 4, 16. I must put this up. There you go, 40, 44. Whoops, I didn't mean that to happen. As you can see, it goes down to 48. It's a bit hard to show on screen. As you can see, 46 and 48. So as you can see, the loop works. Now suppose we want to print out all the odd numbers. How do we do that? As we all know, the reason I put 2 here is because all even numbers begin with 2, right? Right. So how do you print all the odd numbers? I'll just put 1 here. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 is odd. 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 is odd. Similarly, it will keep on printing it out unless it reaches the number, right? So let's run this. Okay, now I'm gonna explain one more thing to you guys. Let's say for example I put the input as 21. Some of you may have a doubt. It's coming only till 19, but 21 is not showing. Why is that? So now there's a simple explanation for this. So suppose I is 17 now. I plus 2, 17 plus 2 is 19. Oh, my spelling is wrong. Whoops. Okay. So is 19 equal to the number? No, number is 21. So I occupies the value of 19 and 19 gets printed as output, right? Now it will again go to the for loop. 19 plus 2 is what? Is 21. Number is 21. So since 21 equals a number, the loop will stop right there. So the loop won't allow this print I to get executed. Once it recognizes that the value of I is equal to the value of the number, the loop will stop right there. So now there's a way to stop this. So we can just put number plus 1. So in this case, when we get 21, 21 will not be equal to 21 plus 1, that is 22. So 21 will get printed out. So let's just see if this works. And 21, there you go. 1 till 21, it all gets printed out, right? Okay. Now this is basically I showed you with an input. We can also do the same thing for a list. Now say for example I have a list. Let's say I have cars in this. Cars equals I'm having a list. I have Lamborghini. Then let's say I have a Ferrari. And let's say I have a Porsche. Okay. So now I have these 3 cars. Now, how do I print them all out? Now, one way of printing them out is just putting print cars 0. Then we can just copy paste this and just replace this by 1 and replace this by 2. So Lamborghini, Ferrari and Porsche all will get printed out, right? But this is like really not efficient. So in this case also we can use for loops. How? I can just put for car in cars. What does this do? Now this like need not be the singular version of cars. You can like put anything you want. I can just put fancy cars. Okay, for fancy cars in cars. So what this does is it goes through each element inside cars. So Lamborghini is the first element, Ferrari is the second element and Porsche is the third element, right? So it goes through each element. So if I say print fancy cars, or not Jancy cars, geez, fancy cars, everything should get printed out, right? For fancy, so first it will go to the first element. So fancy cars will occupy the element of index 0. As you guys remember, the first element is always in index 0. So fancy cars will occupy the element of index 0. So in this case it's Lamborghini. So it will print out Lamborghini. Then it will occupy the second element, that is index 1. So index 1 has Ferrari. So it will print out Ferrari. And then it will again go and occupy the third element, which has index 2. That is Porsche. So basically Porsche will get printed out. So let's make this a bit more interesting. I'll just put I like a and just put this. Let's see how this runs. Hopefully there will be no problems. And then I like a Lamborghini, I like a Ferrari and I like a Porsche. As you can see, this is the basic of for loops. Now the enumerating function I'll teach you later if you guys want to. So that's it for for loops. If you have any doubts, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. And that's it. Goodbye.